So there have actually been two games that I specifically bought consoles for, and both of them ended in tears. The first one was actually only about 5 years ago when I bought an Xbox One to play Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which at the time was announced as an Xbox exclusive, and I don't think they'd revealed that it was coming to PlayStation 4, or if they had revealed that it was a timed exclusive, they hadn't given a window. So I was eager to play the sequel because I loved the 2013 reboot, really loved it at the time, and I was so excited to see where they would go next. So I asked for that for Christmas from my parents, and I helped buy this Xbox just for this one game. And Shadow of the Tomb Raider, it was all right. It's fine. It's a game that I played and then never thought about again until I did this very video. In fact, yeah, it was cool. Whether or not I'd go back and buy this Xbox again just for this one game, probably not, because I haven't played much of it since. I really enjoyed Gears 4 and 5. That's about it. Games Pass is good. Was it worth the money for one game? Probably not. And I had a similar issue, this time with PlayStation, when I really wanted Metal Gear Solid 4. And this was a game that I'd been looking for a long time, to the point where when I was younger, much younger, I saw a rumor in a magazine, back when magazines existed, that it might have been coming to the Xbox. And because I only had an Xbox 360, I was so overwhelmed and excited that I ran downstairs and told my parents, to which they replied, "Cool." And then I just went back upstairs, really buzzing. Obviously, it didn't come to Xbox, and years after the fact, even after I got a PlayStation 4, I think, I ended up getting a PlayStation 3 really cheap to play Metal Gear Solid 4. And again, it didn't live up to the hype. This had years and years of hype that I'd heaped on it, and it just wasn't all that awesome, especially because at the time I'd kind of soured a bit on MGS as a whole because I hadn't played it in so long, and everyone was drawing attention to how silly it was, and at the time I was like, oh, I don't want that silliness, I just want this gritty realism. I've since played that game again, thankfully, and I appreciate Metal Gear Solid 4 much more, but at the time, nothing could live up to that hype. But at least I got a PlayStation 3 out of it, and it was really cheap, and I got to play a lot of other PlayStation 3 games, so I don't really regret that one in the same way I do Tomb Raider, but still, one day I want to buy a console for a game, and the game actually be worth it to justify hundreds and hundreds of pounds in most cases. I guess we'll see for the PlayStation 5 and Demon's Souls, eh?
So a console that I bought simply just to play a video game has to have been the Switch, because I had really no desire to play a Switch. Me and my partner both didn't really have a desire to have a Switch, really. We had our DS's, we had our 3DS's, and we had the Xbox and the PlayStation. We've got pretty much every console under the sun, and we were sort of in cahoots as to should we buy one? Maybe we should put our money together and get one, but we didn't really have the need for one until Pokemon Let's Go Eevee came out, and I just was like, yes, I need it. I saw the trailer and I saw the fact that you could play as a girl and you could dress them up and you could customize their hair and their makeup and their clothes, and then you could also customize your Eevee as well, and I just like, oh, I need it. And it had been such a long time since I had properly got into a Pokemon game and just really thoroughly enjoyed it, and that's the sort of thing that I wanted Pokemon to do with their games. That's exactly what I needed, just more customization, and it just looked so good. It just looked so sleek and smooth and pretty, and it was new. It was brand new, brand spanking new, and I needed it. And so yeah, I remember just saying to my partner, I was like, we need a Switch now. I have to play this game. It looks incredible, it looks adorable, I need it. So yeah, he agreed with me, and we finally put our money together and got one, and I was so happy. I remember we were fighting over it because unfortunately we did only get one. We could only afford one, and so we were fighting over whose go it was because we both wanted to play Pokemon so bad. And yeah, it was definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. Brilliant console.
So take yourself back to the mid-2000s. The old Gears of War was doing the rounds, stop and pop shooters and all that, and you just couldn't get enough. Could not get enough of just hiding behind waist-high walls and shooting the living hell out of everything. Now, after being a massive PlayStation 2 fan, didn't bother with the PS3. I got swept up in that maelstrom of negativity that was, oh my god, what are they doing? Why are they pricing it like this? Why are they saying that we need to get 2 jobs to afford it? F you, PlayStation, Sony, you know, fickle gamer man. I just went with the 360. So the game that I eventually ended up getting a console to play was Uncharted, because I loved Gears of War and stop and pop shooters so much that I just had to see what all the fuss was about. And it was that thing where there was, assumedly, you know, there was that sort of residual love of PlayStation in the back of my mind, because PlayStation 1 and 2 had been such a massive part of my, you know, game-loving identity. And so when all the, you know, rumors or the general sort of coverage about Uncharted started to come up, like before launch and during launch, saying, oh my God, this is the next big step for cinematics and Hollywood sensibilities in gaming, I had to know. Now, the obvious reality of that is that Uncharted 1 was not that good. It was fine, the cutscenes are amazing, Nolan North's performance and whatever you call the dude that plays Sully, you know, fell in love immediately, but the actual gameplay wasn't very good. It's not until Uncharted 2 that whole series kicked in and realized what the hell it was. So, not massively worth it. And the PS3 itself didn't really have any big exclusives other than Metal Gear 4 that was worth keeping it. But I was all in. I was all in on the stop and pop stuff. So it's got to be Uncharted. And I'm so glad that I got to meet Nolan North in Uncharted and, you know, that whole thing. But was it worth 400 quid for a PS3? Probably not. To be honest, probably not.
Yeah, I know. I don't normally do these videos on this particular channel, but just sometimes you've got a story to tell, haven't you? And I do have a story to tell. Basically, right, when I saw we were doing this video of what game convinced you to buy a console, I thought, you know what that's going to be? That's going to be a lot of big nerds telling you about how, I wasn't sure if I should get the PS4 on launch, but then I saw they were doing Call of Duty Ghosts and I just thought, I can't wait till Christmas. Basically, people buying a console would probably have got anyway, or just making their mind up between two of the exact same things so they could play one game whenever they got it. But is that interesting? Or, well, all right, not interesting. Is that as tragic as the story I'm going to tell you? No, it is not, because my story is of a man who bought this, a Nintendo 2DS, purely so we could play Pokemon Moon, and so we could play Pokemon Alpha Sapphire, and so we could play Pokemon Y, and literally no other games. But the story doesn't end there, of course, because what's in the box, Adam? What's in the little box? Why, it's a Nintendo DS, battery still fully charged. And why did I buy that, you ask? Well, so I could play Pokemon Soul Silver, or Pokemon Platinum, or Pokemon Black and White, and literally no other games. But the story doesn't end there, because it goes back even further to my youth. I'm the man who asked for a Nintendo Game Boy for Christmas, this Nintendo Game Boy for Christmas, purely so we could play Pokemon Yellow, and Pokemon Red, and Pokemon Silver, and then later on, Pokemon Emerald, and that generation as well. So basically what happens is every single time Nintendo bring out a console, I buy it exclusively to play Pokemon games. Now I know what you're thinking, where's the big question? Did you do it? Yes, I did buy a Nintendo Switch purely so I could play Pokemon Sword, but that was such a comical letdown. I then went and bought Zelda and Mario Kart and actually just enjoyed Nintendo for all the reasons you should enjoy Nintendo, not because you're a slave to a 20-year-old kid's franchise. I'm a grown-ass man.